Welcome to Apiculture video series. This is the third video and in next two videos we are going to cover the syllabus. So in this video I am going to cover management of colonies during different seasons, that is feeding, dividing, uniting, prevention of swarming, robbing and absconding. The care and management of beekeeping is done by knowledge and training on beekeeping, knowledge on local bee flora, sufficient local bee flora, knowledge of migratory beekeeping, apiary site requirement. To learn this, you should imagine the apiary site and how the boxes are kept and managed in an apiary. And the main thing is you have already read all these things in your commercial agriculture courses. Only here nothing is there to explain. I just covered the syllabus. I'll go on reading, and wherever the explanation is required, there only I will explain. If you have any doubts, you just keep it in the comment section so that I can explain you in a better way. The site should be dry without dampness. High relative humidity is always required, which or else it will affect the flight and ripening of nectar. Water, natural or artificial source of water is required. Wind breaks to avoid the cool air and excess air. Then shade for keeping the beehives cool. Then bee pasturage and florage. This is the plants that yield pollen and nectar to bees are called bee pasturage and foliage. Such plants should be plenty around the apiary site, means plenty of the flora is always maintained near the apiary site. So general apiary management practices include hive inspection, means you should always see whether presence of queen is there or presence of eggs and broods, honey and pollen storage, how it is happening. Then presence of bee enemies like wax moth, mite, other diseases like that. Then expanding brood net. This is done by providing comb foundation sheet in empty frame during honey flow period, means additional sheets are always provided here if there is more number of bees. Then suppering, this is addition of frames in super comb, okay, means in the super chamber. The fourth step is during breeding season, what all care and management we should do. Here there is considerable increase in the foraging activity of the workers and in the rate of egg laying by the queen. Necessary additional space has to be provided for all this, and this is done through supply of new clean yellow combs or comb foundation sheets. In case of weak stocks, population can be increased, taking advantage of the favorable environmental conditions by giving brood combs from strong colonies or by simply changing the position to that of the strong colony in the bright morning when the bees are busy. Bees of the strong colony after their foraging trip return to the weak hive now located in the site of their original home, and thus the weak colony becomes a strong. This should be done in a prosperous season and at the time when bees are busy. Next is swarm control. Swarm control means the density of bees controlling. The strength of colonies gets denoted as a result of swarming. Swarming can be prevented by clipping of special queen brood cells as they are constructed, since a colony does not send out a swarm unless a new queen is ready to take the place of the laying queen. There is a few other method of swarm control in which the natural instincts of the bees for dispersal and perpetuation of species are not curbed out but aim at reeling the special congestion and readjustment of different castes and categories of population. Primary swarm is allowed to take place but trapped in swarm trap and hived as a separate colony. So after swarms are prevented by destroying the remaining queen brood cells, then one or two brood combs in the strong colony which are inclined to issue swarms are removed and given to weak colonies. Brood comb with the laying queen and a few workers taken out and put in a separate hive, and thus the colony is divided. Then interchange the position between a strong and weak colony to balance the good and bad honeybees, means strong and weak honeybees. The next is artificial feeding. As you know, throughout the year you cannot get sufficient quantity of pollen. One or the other crop may be giving, but some crops may give sufficient pollen, some may not. So artificial feeding is always uh, give better results. First one in that is preparation of artificial feed. Here, sugar syrup is prepared by dissolving 100 grams of sugar in 150 to 200 ml of hot water, boiled and cooled, means that should be sterilized properly, or else some of the bacterial contaminants or fungal contaminants may affect the colony. It is offered in 400 ml glass bottle or cigarette tins with their mouth covered with a mark in cloth held tightly with rubber band or thread. The effect of artificial feeding is the bee colony should be fed well during dearth period, means when pollen is not available, especially in winter season. In such cases, swarming is induced earlier, and this helps a beekeeper in making the bee colony strong before honey flow season starts. Means in the dry period we should give sufficient additional food. Then provision of drinking water, source of fresh water within a short distance of apiary is essential. And one more thing is, in artificial feeding, many of the apiary management persons tried jaggery solution also and other sucrose solutions also, but it could not be effective, or it ended up in many of the diseases as well as pest damage like that. Drinking water should be there. Then uniting bee colonies. Here the question of uniting stock of bees arises only when the colony becomes weak or queenless and all attempts of requeening fail. It is then necessary that weak colonies should be united. As each colony has its own peculiar odor, it is necessary either to blend the odors of the two colonies slowly or suppress both by a strong one. That means the queen bees will be knowing the peculiar odor or smell of that particular her colony. If this is not done by the bees of the two colonies fight, the colonies to be united should be brought near each other by moving them closer 0.5 to 1 meter each day, so that incoming bees may not drift back to old site when the colonies are sufficiently close. Two other methods are a newspaper method, in which bring colonies side by side by moving 30 centimeter per day or daily basis. 30 centimeter close you should bring. Remove queen from weak colony. Keep a newspaper on top of the brood chamber of queen, known as right colony. Make holes on the paper. Then keep queenless colony on top of the right colony. Close hive entrance so that the smell of bees get mixed in both the colony. Then unite bees to the brood chamber and make it one colony. Next method is smoke method. Here you got two methods. One was newspaper method and another is smoke method. These are additional two methods. In smoke method, both colonies should be smoked heavily and then dumped into one hive. More smoke should be blown into the common hive. Next is handling of the queen. This is very important. As you know, when royal jelly is fed in sufficient quantity, then only we can get the queen. Finding the queen. The presence of an active queen in the colony can be judged by presence of worker eggs. However, it is essential to stop her and to catch her, then she must be searched properly. In a strong colony, sometimes it may be difficult to spot the queen at the first look. Test for the absence of queen. If it is often necessary to be sure that a colony is really queenless before introducing a new queen. The bees of queenless colony always develop nervousness. They do not sit properly in the comb. There will be no egg laying or worker egg laying without uniformity in comb. Next is introduction of queen. Several methods of introducing queen. Some are direct and some are indirect. For safe introduction, the first method is make sure that the colony into which it is to be introduced is really queenless, and further that no queen cell is present in the brood combs. Means there should be a single queen. The queen should be put into a queen introducing cage with the exit plugged with queen candy and then placed in the center of the brood nest. The queen can be kept in a small specimen tube, the mouth of which is closed with a muslin cloth having a small hole to permit it to escape eventually. Then increase the number of colonies. It is very important for beekeeper to increase his bee colony every year, and this can be done by dividing the existing colonies into 2 to 3 sub colonies with fresh queens. A bee colony can be established by purchasing it from a private or government organization. Only those colonies should be selected or purchased within which have at least 5 to 6 brood frames covered with bees and a healthy active queen. The number of colonies can be increased by dividing the existing colony during swarming season when the queen cells are constructed. It is done by keeping 50% brood combs with old queen and in an empty hive. The hive should be removed at least 0 to 8 km away from its original site. The other half of the colony with queen cells should be kept in the original site. Another method is to let the colony swarm, and the swarms are captured and transferred to empty hives by giving brood comb from another colony. The swarms can be kept in the same vicinity. Bee colonies can be captured from natural source. Before bagging the colony, smoke should be applied. Combs are cut and placed in frames with wire to which they are firmly secured. The frames are transferred to the hive along with the bees. Then seasonal management. Pollen and nectar are available only during certain period. When surplus food source is available, it is known as honey flow season. Remember, when surplus food is available, it is called as honey flow season. In contrast, during dearth period, means when honey is not available, there will be scarcity of food. During extreme climate like summer, winter and monsoon, certain specific management tactics are required, like as already I told, the artificial food source should be given. Now different season wise will talk. Honey flow season management. In this, first spring season will take. During this season, provide more space for honey storage by giving comb foundation sheet or built combs. Means additional combs we should always provide in a single chamber. Confirm queen to brood chamber using queen excluder. Then prevent swarming as explained in swarm management. Prior to honey flow, provide sugar syrup and build sufficient population. Divide strong colonies into 2 to 3 colonies. Queen rearing technique may be followed to produce new queens for new colonies. Next is summer management. During this, provide sufficient shade under trees or artificial structure. This is to prevent the dehydration in the bees. Increase relative humidity and reduce heat by sprinkling water twice a day on gunny bags or rice straw put on the hive. Then increase ventilation by introducing a sprinkler between broods and super chamber. Then provide sugar syrup, pollen supplement, substitute and water. During winter season, maintain strong and disease-free colonies. Then provide new queen in the hives and provide winter packing in cooler area, hilly regions. Next, management during dearth period. Dearth period means during non-pollen source period. Here, remove empty combs and store in airtight container. Use dummy division board to confine bees to small area. Then unite weak colonies. Provide sugar syrup, pollen supplement substitutions. Then in the rainy season and monsoon management, avoid dampness in apiary site. Provide proper drainage. In rain, when bees are confined to the hive, provide sugar syrup feeding. Next is bee pasturage or bee forage. Plants that yield pollen and nectar are collectively called bee pasturage or foliage. Plants which are good source of nectar are tamarind, moringa, neem, Prosperous juliflora, then soapnut tree, Glidsidia maculata, eucalyptus, Tribulus terrestris and pungum. Plants which are good source of pollen are sorghum, sweet potato, maize, tobacco, millets like kumbu, tenai, varagu, ragi, coconut, roses, castor, pomegranate, and date palm. Plants which are good source of both pollen and nectar are banana, peach, citrus, guava, apple, sunflower, berries, safflower, peach, mango, and plum. For foraging, this refers to collection of nectar and pollen by bees. Nectar foragers means these collect nectars from flowers using lapping tongue and pass the nectar to the hive bees. Hive bees repeatedly pass the nectar between pre-oral cavity and tongue to ripen the honey. Means to say it is not just collection of the nectar, but the process of nectar ripening is the result of which gives result into honey. Later they drop the ripened honey into cells. Pollen foragers. They collect pollen by passing through different flowers. Pollen sticking to the body is removed by using pollen comb. Then it is packed using pollen press into carbicula or pollen basket. A single bee carries 10 to 30 mg of pollen, which is 25% of the bee's weight. And then the pollen is dislodged by middle leg into the cell. Pollen is mixed with honey and stored. Then floral fidelity. This means bee visits same species of the plant for pollen and nectar collection until the source is exhausted. This is known as floral fidelity. Bees travel 2 to 3 kilometer distance to collect pollen and nectar. Remember one thing, bees are the most intelligent creatures, and whenever you consume the honey, please make sure that it is processed, or else many of the bacterial spores will be always present in the raw honey, and this may cause many of the infectious damages to your body. Thank you. If you have any doubt or anything, just keep it in the comment section. Keep on subscribing and liking. Thank you.